friends to a podcast that's been described as
emotional
and
terrifying.
one guy even said it was
So awesome it will shock you to the core.
finally another podcast about Godzilla and all his giant monster friends.
This could be the end of civilization.
Yeah, probably. So join your hosts, KES and Slick.
Ladies and gentlemen,
You're listening to the podcast. From Odo Island. Welcome to the podcast from Odo Island. Follow us on Twitter at Odo Island Pod. I'm tired. I'm in KES. With me as always is the man who took over the AEW community outreach handle. Slick, how you doing?
Oh, well, you know, adrenaline in my soul.
Walmart exclusive Cody Rhodes.
Something like that, yeah. Yep. Can always go home. That's what we learned from Cody Rhodes over the past couple weeks.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get into that later if we need space to fill.
Yeah.
But this week's episode, a classic, Beast from 20,000 Fathoms.
Yes. Yes, the old stop motion tour de force.
Right. Any news items this week before we jump right into that?
Well, there was kind of that weird Godzilla short film trailer with I think it's the Henshin Tigers.
Yep.
And yeah, that's I guess this is Toho's new thing. You're just randomly gonna get some like weird live action short films.
I love how they chose like a giant baseball mascot to be Godzilla's opponent.
Yep. I don't know if that's the actual Kiryu Tokyo SOS Godzilla suit or if that's like a weird promotional suit. It didn't look like it had the most range of motion going on in parts of it, and some seams were very visible.
Yeah, the mouth was definitely just open. Whole time.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I know like around that era of movies, they were making like a whole bunch of like less articulated. Maybe articulated is not the right word. Yeah, I guess articulated, right? Like they're like figures, basically. I know they were making like promotional suits that just didn't have like the range of motion the actual movie suits did. I was looking at that, going like, is this like a promotional suit, or is this like just like they've been trying to preserve the Kiryu suit?
Maybe.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a little hard for me to tell. But I guess speaking of shorts, because yeah, whatever, you can go see this really weird trailer where a baseball mascot fights Godzilla, and we'll get that at some point, and hilarity will ensue. I don't know. We haven't actually talked about this offline, like, but how this is like the 50th anniversary of Godzilla versus Gigan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I feel about Toho doing a crowdfunding campaign for this. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay. So Toho's doing a crowdfunding campaign that in Japan that basically says, if we raise enough money, we will make a classic 1970s style Gigan suit, and we will do a live action short of Godzilla versus Gigan with that classic 70s style suit, just like we kind of did with Hedorah last year, which I think is cool. Again, Toho having to crowdfund that's a little weird, but I'm going to kind of put that off to the side.
Did they hire Tommy Tallarico?
Yeah, I know. Is this going to be like Toho's Abiko? But I don't think the crowdfunding campaign has started. I think they've just announced it.
Okay.
But I think it's, well, actually, probably by the time this recording comes out, I think it might be underway. But we'll see. I found that a little odd, but I think it'd be cool, though, if they're going to try to make a 1972 Gigan suit and then do some live action stuff with it.
Yeah, I feel like they should be flush enough to be able to handle this on their own.
You would think so. From how, they do basically, distribute, 1/3 of all movies in Japan.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to guess that Legendary deal has netted them quite a bit of money. But,
not to mention merchandising.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'm not, in my mind, I'm looking at it how, Mattel and all these other companies going yeah, you want this WWE new generation ring, let's see that there's an interest for it, but you're pre-ordering something. So if you get something for crowdfunding it, I'll have less of a problem with it. But I don't know if you actually get anything for crowdfunding it at this time.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like you just get the short.
Yeah, that's It's not cutting it for me, dog.
This is an odd thing to do.
That doesn't work for me, brother.
Right. It doesn't work for me either.
So we'll see how that plays out in the coming weeks. I feel like they announced it, and I feel like it quickly fell off the radar in no time. So, but it's the year Geigen, so who knows what else we're gonna get. But
yeah, they should just do what they did with the heater thing. I don't,
yeah, I know. It's like, okay, so you had 2 suits lying around. What? How much money is it going to cost to make one Geigen suit with all the other random Godzilla suits you get lying around?
$7 million.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll keep you posted on that. I'm curious to see how that plays out.
I'm just saying it right now. I'm not giving them any money. So
yeah, if you can get something for it, I would consider it.
If they sent out everyone who donated like a figure or something, like a Geigen figure, then fine. But
yeah,
they're definitely not going to do that.
No, this is Toho. Toho's not doing that.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. And I don't know. Am I missing any other noteworthy news items? It's always like rumor and innuendo about like what's the next MonsterVerse movie going to be. The Song of Kong thing is like kind of picking up steam.
Yeah, the musical.
Yeah, Song of Kong the musical.
The Song of Kong.
But I feel like other than that, I feel like nothing too newsworthy going on at the moment. Watch the second we stop recording this, something huge is going to like break tomorrow.
That's the way it always works.
Yeah.
Toho has spies who listen to this podcast, and then after we release it and they know we recorded and everything, they come up with their news item the next day.
That's right. So if something breaks between Friday and Sunday, just know we already had this one in the can as of Thursday night. But yeah, that's all I got.
All right, so without further ado, let's jump into it. Beasts from 20,000 Fathoms.
Yeah. So there's a lot to talk about in terms of background. I'm going to just say right now, we're not going to cover all of the long background here, but we can probably have a good little dialogue here, or at least about what's going on here in the background. So
set the gigantic table.
This is like saying the Thanksgiving dinner table. So the 1953 classic, The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, very famously based on a short work by Ray Bradbury, the famous sci-fi writer, which it was originally titled Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, but later when it was anthologized, its more popular title, or I think how it's more commonly known now, is The Foghorn.
Yep.
And that was his story about a beast coming ashore at a lighthouse, mistaking the foghorn from a lighthouse as being another member of the mate of its species, and then learning that it was not, and destroying the lighthouse via heartbreak. So, but it is actually a very cool little short story. I definitely recommend reading it if you are a kaiju fan. So this is Ray Harryhausen, the stop motion wizard. This is his first solo movie that he worked on. So he is obviously Willis O'Brien, who did King Kong. He was kind of like his, I guess I'll say apprentice or understudy or whatever. And this was his first movie that he did solo. And him and Ray Bradbury were actually friends, like since they were like teenagers. They used to go to, they both were all about dinosaur movies. They would go together, watch movies, and they always talked about how cool it would be if like one day one of Ray Bradbury's stories could be adapted into a movie that Harryhausen did the special effects for. Well, I mean, this was not a Ray Bradbury and Ray Harryhausen plan, but but the director and the studio was working on adapting the story, and then they kind of took it to Ray Bradbury, and they were like, yeah, we kind of want to like take this story and kind of retrofit some of your story into it and attach your name to it, and Ray Harryhausen's going to do the special effects. And so the movie had a budget of $250,000. It was sold to Warner Brothers for $450K. In its first year, it made over $2 million. So, almost kind of wish you got a cut of that, right? But you didn't. You just got the $450K, and that was kind of the end of that. So, but Ray Harryhausen doing the special effects of this movie, a lot of the techniques that he would go on to use and perfect in like later movies, like he kind of developed in this, like kind of developing like matting techniques with the stop motion effects. And he's like, we kind of did it like out of necessity in this movie to kind of create like a grander scale. And I was watching an interview with him where he said that like the way he preferred to work in this movie and in future movies is that like he didn't want anybody else really around, like working on the special effects stuff with him. He totally just 100% by himself would like sit in a studio and he would work out these stop motion scenes and do all the special effects. And he didn't want like anybody around interfering or assisting him. That's just the way he preferred to work. And this is like that first movie where he got to do that.
Just like me with KES.
Just like you with your musical project. Yep. So I kind of teased in the last episode that this is a little piece of trivia. Towards the end of the movie, the guy that's like get brought in to be the sharpshooter for this movie, he's played by Lee Van Cleef, who is Angel Eyes in The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. So he's have you seen The Good, Bad, the Ugly?
Yes.
Okay, so he's like the villainous guy in The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. In my headcanon, I like to believe that the sharpshooter in this movie is a descendant of Angel Eyes from The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. But we are a Godzilla podcast. And so where would we be?
Don't talk about sharpshooters here.
Where would be... Listen, Brett. It's the Scorpion Deathlock in some parts. But where would we be if we did not tie this into Godzilla? So this is... Now I'm going to shift a little bit to Godzilla 1954 history. So it's well known that this is one of the movies that had a great impact on the original 1954 film. So Tomoyuki Tanaka is one of the main producers of the Godzilla series. He had Shigeru Kiyama create the original scenario around like Tanaka's original idea of what at the time was a very undeveloped Godzilla idea. It was still like basically like they were still floating the idea as Godzilla going to be like a giant octopus at this point. All it pretty much was like Tanaka's idea was, yeah, a giant monster should come out of like the ocean and attack Japan. And so Kiyama basically said, I'm just gonna kind of rewrite The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. And his first screenplay outline, or just an outline, was called The Big Monster from 20,000 Miles Beneath the Sea. So very on the nose. And even included a scene where the yet to really kind of be fleshed out whatever Godzilla was going to attack a lighthouse. Very similar to Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. But it was Ashiro Honda with his partner Takeo Maruta who ultimately would mold that screenplay into what Gojira would become. And because Ashiro Honda was like, we're not going to just kind of have this like monster on the loose movie. Like this should be a story with meaning. And it was Ashiro Honda who he deleted some of the scenes that were like too Beast from 20,000 Fathoms like, but he also interjected like a lot of like the wartime feel, like Godzilla basically becoming a stand-in for like the nuclear bomb. And it was I read like a good quote in one of the books that I have. It was like that was kind of dissecting this, and it was like movies like Beast from 20,000 Fathoms and Them and all the other like 1950s monster on the loose movies, like those are creatures that are a reaction to the atomic bomb, whereas Godzilla was the atomic bomb.
Right.
And I thought that was a very good analogy that kind of separates what makes a movie like Godzilla different from a movie like this. But without a doubt, I mean, this movie had a lot of influence on Godzilla. But this movie released in Japan, I think, in the beginning of 1954, and Godzilla comes out in November of 1954. And so, the influence was there, but it all kind of gets pushed in like a short window of time.
Yeah, they're not super similar. Like I could see the similarities, but like, and obviously the influence, but like I didn't watching this for the first time compared to Godzilla. I was like, they're not very similar at all.
Yeah, and I think, and again, I don't know how. I mean, we don't know how extensive the story beats were that Ishiro Honda removed, but like, I mean, him removing the lighthouse was an obvious lighthouse attack was an obvious thing, but you still get boat attacks. You still get the presence of radioactivity. You still kind of get the scientist who wants to study the monster alive. And, I kind of thought the diving bell scene in this movie was very similar to the ending to Godzilla, like Serizawa going into war. So there is still a lot that's similar. And Ray Harryhausen was always a little bit resentful of Godzilla. First, because he was not the biggest fan of suitmation effects. He didn't hate them. But he always was a little resentful towards the Godzilla franchise because he did feel that like they just kind of straight up ripped off the beast in front of it. Not straight up like ripped it off, but lifted a lot from it. And Godzilla obviously went on to be a cultural icon. Where while the Beast was a very successful movie, it was not Godzilla. So he was always held a little bit of a grudge on that, which is too bad. But I can see where he's coming from because I mean he's kind of right. I mean like there was people at work here who were just straight up just trying to knock off the movie, and then Ishiro Honda comes in and goes like, I'm gonna make this something more than what it is.
Imagine if Ape vs. Monster became more successful than Godzilla vs. Kong.
Imagine we could be living in that's an asylum movie, right?
Yeah.
Is there like an asylum shared universe? Is there like, I don't know what the equivalent to like the monster verse would be in like an asylum verse.
It's called a bathroom.
It's called the toilet, kid. It's called the shitter.
I'm just kidding.
Well,
asylum knows what they are.
Yes, the shitter kid. Well, that was a very serious rundown that I culminated with the shitter kid.
Yeah, that was good stuff. Obviously, like I said, you knew that there was similarities, but as a movie itself, I think Beast from 20,000 Fathoms is very different from Godzilla, tonally and in execution. Like you said, the diving scenes, that's similar, but it's like they're completely different movies.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think because of the legacy that it has, I almost kind of feel like this is like required viewing if you're doing like a deep dive into like monster movie stuff. But like, as far as I can tell, the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms never set out to be more than what it was, more than like a monster on the loose movie. Yeah. Whereas Godzilla set out to be something more than just a monster movie.
Yeah.
Like I don't think anybody would say that the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms has some deep message that it's trying to get across and trying to say. I think it's a product of its times. Yeah. And this kind of stuff was popular at the time. That's kind of like my view. But what makes this required viewing, as we'll probably both agree and talk about, is like the special effects work.
100%, Conrad. 100%.
So, but this was your first time seeing it, right?
Yeah, obviously I've seen like the clips and I've seen the attack on New York and everything. I never saw the ending and I never saw the movie itself, so this was the first time watching it.
Yeah,
I was texting you or messaging you while I was watching it, exaggerating. Like I think I said this movie sucks, and I was being less than.
But you were early on, or you were early in the movie.
I was being less than sincere. I was just trying to be funny.
Yeah.
So it doesn't suck. I'll just say that right off the bat. But my impressions overall was this really is just basically an hour's worth of setup for like this big special effects sort of like release at the end.
Yeah.
And that's really like the only exciting part. I found the actual like human side of this movie to be pretty dull.
Yeah, they're kind of generic scientist characters, like kind of fumbling through this like, ooh, we released something in the Arctic. Nobody believes me now.
And they kind of just keep on repeating that over and over again. Like, he tells a guy, I don't believe you. All he tells his like psychiatrist, the guy's like, nah, you're under stress. You're making this all up. And then he tells like the scientist, he's like, no, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
And then he tells someone else, like, not really, no.
Yeah, I forget all their names. We'll just call them all scientists. So scientist tells the other scientist that, that he saw this monster, and scientist doesn't believe the scientist, but the scientist, other scientist, she believes him.
Right.
And then the scientist shows the other scientist some pictures of different dinosaurs, and the scientist says, oh, that one. That's what I found. And the scientist goes, well, in the newspaper, somebody else just talked about like their boat getting sunk, and there's like one surviving sailor.
And he brings that guy in.
Yeah. So scientist brings in captain.
Yeah. So they just kind of say hello, and then he just walks off.
And he's like, I believe you. I'm going to go. I was thinking about this. Like, I mean, we grew up in a time before the internet and, smartphones and stuff like that. And I was like, this guy's got to go all the way from like New York to Canada to like talk to this guy, to fly him back, to convince him to come back to New York to show him a picture. I was like, damn, this movie's getting remade now. They're just like, can I just, I don't know, text you this picture that I saw? Is that the same thing for you? Would have saved everybody a lot of days on that trip.
I think scientists enjoyed it though, because he was not fond of like planning for expeditions. He just wanted to get out there and do it.
Yeah,
you know?
scientist seemed like he just wanted to.
How can you worry about the details in a moment like this?
All right, we gotta start putting a little bit more qualifiers on scientist, and scientist. But that was fun, though. I enjoyed that. But old guy scientist also has not gone on a vacation for 30 years, apparently.
And he never will.
Yeah, yes. That was the best. He's like, it's like, like if this movie came out later, like in like the 70s or 80s, I would have felt like that like setup was like intentional. Of like, it's like, you know, it's like there's like cop movies or like the McBain spoof on The Simpsons are like, I'm just 3 days away from retirement, McBain.
Oh, that's Lethal Weapon.
Thank you. Yes, yes. Well, McBain is basically, you know, Lethal Weapon spoof. But I was like,
damn it, Rick.
but he's like, I'm just 3 days away from retirement. Or this is like, oh, you know what the best part about not going on a vacation for 30 years? Oh, it's gonna be the best when you go. And it's like, yeah, you're gonna die, huh?
Yeah, it was kind of teed up. I kind of saw that one coming.
Yeah.
But he's skeptical at first. He wants proof, whereas the other scientist who saw it he's more of the Fox Mulder, and the older scientist is more of the Scully.
The Scully.
Scully! Because when Mulder's screaming for Scully, he calls her Scully.
Is the surviving sailor the cigarette smoking man by default in this scenario? Then
he's Krychek.
Okay. God, I forgot about that character.
The heels and X-Files were great. Anyway, so like there's a lot of like, it starts off in the snow and they're doing like nuclear bomb tests and they awaken the beast and they kind of see it, but like they're not really sure. Like he talks to a psychologist and one guy's like, no, this happened before I saw the guy was dead, because he was trying to blame it on his grief that he saw his dead friend.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I saw it before that. And so then he's like, you're under stress. You just made it all up.
Because it's so common for grief and stress to manifest into visions of giant monsters. Very, very common.
Right.
Very common.
So, but like, you know, it just seems like, you know, they're looking for the easy way out. They don't want, like, I didn't think that the therapist really wanted to do his job. I think he was just inconvenienced that he had to be there. And it was like, fuck you for dragging me out here. I wanted to stay at home and be with my lovely wife and children. So I think it was more like annoyance than wanting to treat this patient.
Yeah.
You know, way to do no harm, pal. So they eventually get back to New York, and they're sort of tracking the path of the monster because they keep on getting these reports about the boat and then like the lighthouse. So it goes from like
little Massachusetts shout out.
Yeah, and it goes from Nova Scotia to Maine. It's on the Massachusetts area, and then eventually makes landfall in New York, where the Atlantic, like the Gulf Stream, is like pushing it. Basically,
isn't this the same plot as Jaws 4: The Revenge?
Kind of.
Doesn't it go all the way from like a cold water base to like a warm water base and does not die?
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's literally out for revenge against the Brody family.
Yeah.
That's the worst. It is a terrible movie.
Yeah.
Jaws 1 is great, but Jaws 4 is just the worst.
Yes, there's the law of diminishing returns in effect right there. So,
but like I said, it's following the Gulf Stream down to New York, where eventually it makes landfall. And before that, you get like the lighthouse where Forrest Gump ran to, and like it's like a famous lighthouse.
Yeah, I don't want to like skip over that. That is like, I still think is like one of like the most important like kaiju scenes in movies.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
History.
Like it's all dark, so you can barely see it, but like you still see the monster pretty much like go up to the lighthouse. And,
it looks so good.
Yeah,
so good.
I think for the most part, the effects look great in this. When it's in the water attacking the boat, it's kind of iffy.
I actually kind of like that.
It's just only because the water doesn't move naturally with what the monster is doing.
Yeah, that's
That's the only thing. That's the only part where I was just kind of like, but it's 1953, so you kind of.
And again, this is Will O'Brien's like first foray like on his own.
Yeah,
you know, and he's only going to get better and better from here.
And like I said, I'm not trying to shit on it. It's a product of the times. It was the best they could do, so it still looked really good. But the lighthouse scene is really like, if you've never watched this movie, like you have to watch at least that scene.
I feel like there's like a way to like take that lighthouse scene, maybe some of the boat scenes and like the New York stuff, and like re-edit this somehow into like a short film, and like you could get something that's like as good as like from like Howl from Beyond the Fog and stuff like that. Like if you just kind of gutted all the human scenes outside of like what happens with like the lighthouse, and like maybe have like some other short story kind of play out around it, like you could have like an incredible movie kind of mixed in here. I kind of feel like it's just the human characters just so bland.
It's very bland. Like there's not a lot of like, no one really stands out to you. Like there's no lasting effect from any character. The only character that really stands out is the cop who shoots at the monster and gets eaten.
Oh yeah,
that was pretty hilarious.
And good job animating that little figure getting eaten too. That was oh, also like now that we're like in like full swings, like the New York part, like the part where the beast or the Rhinoceros or whatever you want to go by is there's like one part like where it crushes a car and then like it kind of swats the car, like, you know, like basically the way my cats play with like their toys. And I was like that looks so good.
Yeah,
that's like stuff like that is just so impressive looking in stop motion.
We did kind of skip over it though while they're before the beast makes landfall. They see it. They do like a ocean expedition, and so they go underwater. And the old scientist insists on going down so we can see it, and he sees it, and he's like, "Oh my god, it's so big!" And they're trying to like,
I guess his last vacation.
Yeah,
his forever vacation.
He's trying to see like what it does or like what its motivations are. If there's like other ones down there, and nope, he just gets got.
Yep.
Our truth style. He got.
He gets that vacation he always wanted forever.
So he's dead.
Oh, also in that scene, there's that random. He's like kind of commenting. He goes, "Oh, he's like, appears there's a disagreement between a shark and an octopus." Oh yeah, that's in Godzilla, right?
Yes, I was in
Godzilla, right?
I forgot. I watched that at the time, and I was like, "This is Godzilla. This is where
that's from. Okay." I was like, "Is this the same thing that they used?" I was like, because also in this movie, it was like, "Why is this here?" And they're just like in Godzilla, I was like, "Why is this here?"
Yeah.
It almost fits more in Godzilla for how much of a lunatic movie that is. But here it's just kind of like... But then the beast comes and just eats them both.
Yeah. So at the end, it was the only thing it really did was just establish that the old scientist is now no longer there.
Yes.
But at least more people believe them now. So they sort of know the thing's coming. And eventually it does. And the New York scene's clearly the best scene in the movie.
Yeah, and that goes on for like a long time.
Yeah.
It's like 20-ish minutes, probably altogether.
So like it makes landfall. Everyone's on their porch or looking out their window, and they start running away and running inside, and the beast is sort of like swatting the car, like you said. That's a really cool scene.
Yeah.
They start shooting it and then sort of realize that
the blood is radioactive.
Well, I was gonna get there, but like it's not really having an effect, so they basically
the bazookas.
Yeah. So they're shooting bazookas, which I swear are shot backwards. Like the smoke comes out the other end and nothing comes out the front.
No, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
No.
But like it's clearly meant to shoot forward. It's like the effect of like smoke coming out the back, but nothing comes out the front. So I was like, that's kind of goofy. They eventually do make like a hole in its neck, but it's all that happens is it's bleeding. It's not like stopping. But eventually they do find out that like the blood is radioactive and it's causing like people who had close encounters to be like having fevers and like possibly dying.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's a cool little wrinkle we haven't seen in one of these movies. Like Cloverfield kind of did it with like the lice that like bit into people and made them explode.
Yeah, and Godzilla 84 had that too. Like Godzilla had like the lice that fell off, but it's only at the beginning of the movie.
But like I'm talking more of like along the lines of like illnesses and disease.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
where like the Cloverfield ones like literally just made people explode. This one just gets them sick and possibly dying. But it's a nice little wrinkle that I don't think is done enough. Where this animal that was woken up after 100,000 years has a disease that humanity had no preparation for, basically.
Yeah, and like it gives it like the unique story beat that it's like you can't just blow it up now. You gotta figure out another way. But that will be like reused, like in Reptilicus and like the giant behemoth, which is Noxu, which is redundant and also just a rewrite of this movie. But yeah, I think it just. I mean, I feel like this is like the best use of it, though.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say it's the original because I don't actually know if it's the original use of this sort of plot point, but it's done really well here.
Yeah, I just think they took the science thing of it and did it correctly, is what I was trying to say. Like,
Yeah.
Like, there's a possibility that, like, you know, diseases that we don't know could exist, that if a monster from 100,000 years ago gets, you know, awoken in the ice, then it could be unleashed. So.
Yeah, and it probably has some radioactive juices flowing through it from based on the way I was woken up. Although they also kind of go like, oh yeah, you know, well, now we're gonna shoot this like radioactive isotope into it to kill it, and like that's just kind of done, just like, you know, like you know, we resolved that issue really quick.
But the good news is that after this is done, they got a minor league baseball team called the Isotopes. Oh wait, no, that was Simpsons.
No, the Simpsons reference, good, but it does lead to another really good. Another like classic special effects scene where like the Rhedosaurus is attacking the roller coaster at Coney Island, and that's just like another like really impressive like looking special effects shot, and then you get the Rhedosaurus's death scene, which again I was watching this interview. It was like Ray Harryhausen and Ray Bradbury together talking about this movie, and he was like, yeah, he goes, I always got told that when I made the death scenes for my monsters, they always died like opera tenors. And then it cut to like the scene of like the beast very dramatically dying at the end of the movie. I was like, it was kind of funny. It is pretty dramatic.
It's dramatic, but like I wouldn't expect it. It was also natural. Like you wouldn't expect an animal that was like just got shot in the neck with an isotope to just go like, yeah, like she's not gonna die like the girl from The Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, which gets blown up in the warehouse?
No, Miranda Tate. She kind of just goes blah, and like dies in a very like cheesy way. This is Dark Knight Rises, not Dark Knight.
Oh yeah, whatever.
I'll show you offline, and you can laugh. What a lovely voice.
Yes. No. Oh yeah. That's right. She has like. She kind of like makes like a weird choking noise and then just like falls asleep.
Yeah.
Like just kind of passes out.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a terrible scene.
Yeah, it's the worst. Doesn't she like say something first and she's like, haha, I like got you, basically, and then goes
kind of.
I'll go the lights.
It's really, it was, yeah, I don't have much love for that movie.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I mean, I kind of forgot that scene. That tells you how much I've watched it.
I did enjoy how slowly and like creepily, like it's like they're kind of like slyly trying to sneak up on the monster at the roller coaster, but they take like the cart up. So like
yeah, and then also like the cart like rolls away and like one of the guys goes to try to grab it. I was like, what were you gonna do if you caught that last cart? It was gonna just pull you down the hill. Like I don't know, man. I don't think you were strong enough to stop about 8 carts from rolling down a huge hill.
Maybe he just wanted to do his Billy Corgan impression.
Oh, that's good. It's a good reference.
Anyway, so they shoot the monster and they give up on the cart. They shoot the monster in the neck, and then they're trying to.
And then they slowly walk down.
But they're very slowly walking away too, which I don't understand. But then they realize that like, oh, the fire's everywhere. They can't get out, and so they're just like, let's just climb down.
Yeah,
and they just climb down, no problem.
Yeah,
like, I feel like they would have an easier time just walking down the roller coaster and
maybe sprinting a little bit, maybe a little pep in that step.
Jump over the fire like the cover of the Reinventing the Steel album cover.
We're getting real deep in the references in this one. But yeah, it was like, it was like it was kind of like false tension. I was like, they're not in any danger from this fire. It's, I don't know, that was just something that kind of stuck out like a little awkwardly. Like you could have snipped some of those scenes out too.
Yeah,
because it's like, this thing's on fire and this beast is like thrashing around, and here's our 2 heroes just kind of like strolling down the roller coaster. Like, we don't need to see that.
I did like how one guy had his hood tucked in and one didn't around the radioactive isotope.
Yeah, I was assuming we were probably, I don't know where we were at in our radiation exposure knowledge at the time, but I don't know how much research this movie did into that. So, because it just kind of seems like they're just handling this radioactive isotope, sometimes with the hood on, sometimes without it on. Yeah, like you said, tucked in, not tucked in.
I enjoy how heavy the box looked that they were carrying it, and then they take it out, and it's like this little rod, and they put it in the gun, and there's like no problem firing it. So it's just like the box itself was extremely heavy, it seemed like.
Well, it's probably a lot of lead to keep the radiation. enclosed. But then I guess that kind of doesn't really matter when you then take it out of the box, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe we're getting really into the weeds on that. I don't know.
We're talking about the scene because there's not a whole lot to talk about in the previous scenes.
Yeah, it's like this movie is like I want to, like, again, going back to like the special effects stuff, because like the very beginning of the movie, you first see the beast in the snowstorm. Looks awesome.
Yep.
Lighthouse scene. Classic. I think, like, again, I think that's one of the most important monster movie scenes of all time. And then like just like the Beast New York attack as a whole, and the Coney Island stuff, like when he attacks the roller coaster. Just like, this movie is, like I said at the beginning, like I think this movie is essential viewing just for Harryhausen's effects and the Beast effects of this. And actually, this Beast prop will be used again 20 years later in some other like weird movies called like Planet of the Dinosaurs or Planet of the I don't know. But it's not the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. It's just like plays like generic dinosaur that gets into a fight with a T-Rex and promptly gets killed. But it's as far as I can tell, I think it's, when I could find out, I think it's the same prop that was used in this, and I guess this prop was like used in a couple other movies too, like where they were kind of modified like a little bit. But it just looks. It's, even in those later appearances that I saw, it still looks like awesome here, because I think it's because it's black and white, great use of shadows. Oh yeah, that's another good little effects thing to talk about. Like there's like a scene where they're kind of like searching for it with spotlights, and like the spotlights kind of going in and out.
Yes.
And like that looks really good. And then I also really liked when the beast hits like the power lines, and it starts like flashing in the dark and stuff like that. And
Yep.
I was like, wow, I was like, that's just like, you know, one guy's doing all this. And I don't know, to me, stop motion stuff is very easy on the eyes to me.
Oh, yeah.
Like, even like, especially when it's done by someone like him or Willis O'Brien, like good stop motion, like just like this does not look like dated effects to me.
No.
I look at this and go, like, this is really like, you know, fantastic looking stuff and
Yeah.
fantastic looking work. Like, and I was like, at the time, like in like the decade before this, like you got Willis O'Brien and Ray Harryhausen doing this stuff. Like, you've probably seen these like other clips of like these other movies that like weren't investing in special effects like that. And it's like a really like fucked up part of like this sort of era of Hollywood history with like these like kind of low budget movies. It's like they would often just have like these like lizards that like they starved and put like, and they would super glue like fins on the back and just
Yeah.
have them fight each other like
Yeah.
on screen. It's like that like awful stuff is like going on, and it's like to see stuff like this is just like you know, it's very refreshing. And I wish it was like a technique that like kind of continued on in time beyond like Harryhausen and Willis O'Brien.
And yeah, that's true. I was gonna say, like, you see it like here and there. Like you got it in RoboCop with the RoboCop 2 effects, and like the in RoboCop 1, you got it with like the machine they try to introduce that winds up killing the guy in the boardroom.
Oh yeah.
So you get like cool stop motion stuff that looks great, but like it didn't really continue on until like the 90s and 2000s. Though it kind of stopped right there.
It's expensive.
It got more into like the computer graphics.
Yeah.
Away from that.
It's just like it's so
It's expensive and time consuming.
Well, I guess you get like Nightmare Before Christmas and stuff like that. Like that's all stop motion.
Yeah.
But even
I'm
like,
talking more like after that, like Toy Story eventually sort of.
oh
like,
yeah,
being
yeah.
like the sort of the end of stop motion and the beginning of
Yeah,
computer graphics.
I would also say like Ray Harryhausen's work in particular, it's very smooth looking. Where like, maybe I haven't seen like the RoboCop scenes in forever, but like a lot of the more modern scenes that used it always kind of had like a little bit like a jerky feel to it.
And that's because like they probably took more pictures of like the frames were more. There's probably more like smoothness to that. Whereas like I feel like maybe they were just moving it a little bit too far to like save time and money.
That's what Ray Harryhausen's putting a lot more energy, time, and work into this, and like,
if you ever watch the YouTube channel GameSack, the guy who does that channel does a lot of stop motion stuff, and it's very good.
You know, like there's it's like Jason the Argonauts, I think, is always kind of held up as like Harryhausen's like best work. I think.
Yep.
And it's like, you know, where it's like the guys, like the live action guys fighting with the skeletons and stuff like that, and like
that and Clash of the Titans is also very good.
Yep. Yeah, it's like all that stuff like just looks really, really good. I wonder if he did I I feel like I should know this if he did Warning from Space with the Ymir. I don't actually know the answer to that. Also like a class. That's also like a classic sci-fi movie I've never seen, but should see. But no, it's not Warning from Space. It's I forget. I think it's like 20 Million Miles from Earth or something like that. I'm conflating two movies.
All right, yeah.
But,
like Ronin and Heat.
Yes, we were talking offline about how we can't tell the difference between Ronin and Heat. Two movies that we'll probably never watch to figure that out. So yeah, I mean, we've actually said a lot about this movie.
All right. Well, I think I've said enough about it. You wanna
time to rank her.
Okay. I think I went first last time, so I'm forcing it upon you.
Yeah. So 1 star as a jobber, all the way up to 5 star being a main eventer. This is because I think it's required viewing, and I think just because of the special effects and the historical importance, I have to give it a 4 star. I do think the human stuff around it is like not good.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very bland, but again, I just think the beast, Rhedosaurus itself, is awesome looking. The special effects are just incredible. Like, I think just watching this movie as a special effects movie and what it did influence with Godzilla and going forward, I just feel like this is like a very historically significant movie. And so for that, I'm going to give it a 4 star.
All right. It's weird because I had to rank this twice. I was just like, if the human stuff kept on going the way it was, it would be a 1, but then the human stuff kind of got smart with the science. So I was like, I'm giving it a 2 just for that. The special effects brought it up another point, so I'm giving it a 3.
Yeah.
For the same reasons that you gave it. It is required viewing. You have to see it. I'm a poser for not seeing it until now. But it was never because like I didn't want to see it. I just never had access to it, and this kind of forced me to do it. Didn't like the human stuff until like they kind of got the science right, and at the end when they were like, we can't just flame it, we'll burn it because then the radioactivity will get in the air and it'll kill the entire city. And it was like they actually listened and they didn't push back on it and be like, come on. Like there was no like condescending Republican guy like in South Park who was like just poo-pooing on the whole idea, even though they're right. So I appreciated that. The special effects, top notch. Yeah, I think it's a 3. Be prepared to be bored during the first hour. Thankfully, it's not a big investment. It's 80 minutes long, so
yeah.
But once you get to the monster scenes, you'll have a good time.
Yeah, 100%. And I think also, the inclusion of Angel Eyes' grandson would probably be accurate to say. Really, same universe as the good, the bad, the ugly. That's my headcanon.
He was a sharpshooter. So, yep, 4 and a 3. Decent movie. Not great, but definitely something you should see.
If you ever find an edit of this movie with only the special effects scenes, it would be like 6 stars. It'd break the scale.
If you could just sort of fast forward at like 1.5 or 2 times speed on the human part and still get this, you'd still get like the whole story, but like you don't have to sit through it as long, then you probably enjoy it more.
Yeah.
But definitely watch the monster stuff at normal speed.
Definitely. Well, there you go.
I know. Hey, you get any figs?
I got a bunch. Jew?
Nope.
Oh.
I got figs, but not figs that are worth talking about here.
Gotcha. Well, you got me, or found, because I paid you back for, the Battle Mechagodzilla, the blackish, grayish, and reddish.
The Wolfpack Mechagodzilla.
The Wolfpack Mechagodzilla, OIWF star. Up and comer. Also, this is like the first figure I've seen in the wild that's in like the kind of new style Playmates packaging.
Yeah.
Very appealing on the eyes.
I like it.
I guess this is also a good place to mention that the new Playmates figures have not made their way to our local Target yet. But they're coming.
Yeah.
They're coming.
Which is I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
But this Mechagodzilla, I feel like, is a very cool figure.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this when you got it, but I got the original Playmates Mechagodzilla. That came out. We both agreed, like, super cool, like, articulated figure. Details pretty good.
Way better in person than, like, the pictures you see online.
Definitely. And, like, seeing this, like, having, like, the red translucent fins, Lucian, like, one of the minor characters from
Underworld.
Underworld, yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
One of my favorite film franchises. He's the antagonist in the first movie.
Well, is he really though?
Well, he is a little misunderstood.
Yeah.
Because then you get the prequel movie where he's the protagonist.
Yes.
And that's everyone kind of overlooks that Underworld movie. That's a very good Underworld movie.
I think they're all pretty fun.
I agree. You're the only other person I know that appreciates that franchise.
I remember seeing the original at this rickety old theater in Keene, New Hampshire, and when I was in college, and just being like, wow, this movie was like, it has this like really like Matrixy style, but it's so different, and like the action's really crisp and great. And what's her name? The girl,
Kate Beckinsale.
Kate Beckinsale. Like,
yeah,
she's just drop dead gorgeous.
It's like I was rewatching a lot of the Underworld movies. Like I feel like I rewatch them like every Halloween. I haven't watched the new one yet. I should make it a point to do that. Like the one that like just came out like a year or two ago, or 2-3 years ago.
Okay, I
haven't watched that one yet, but like all the other ones, like I fucking love all the other ones. They're very entertaining.
I like the first two the most.
Oh yeah. I like the first one, and I might actually say the prequel might be my second favorite.
Okay.
Where Lucian is the protagonist.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the red translucent film fins on this Mechagodzilla figure are...
The Mechagodzilla figure is a lichen.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, he's kind of got the werewolf jaw going on.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Yeah, I like what that's at. But yeah, this is a really cool little figure. And I like how like the fire breath or the proton scream is just like the repainted one that the Godzillas have. But yeah, good stuff.
Good figure. When I saw it, I was just like, I wish I waited. But then I was like, Chris wants it, I'll get it for him.
Yeah.
Because I paid like $25 for mine.
Yeah. Moving up, I'm not going to call this the main event, or maybe I get a dual main event.
I'm going to call. Yeah, you definitely got a night one main event right here.
Yes, this is like WrestleMania. Here's night one main event. Is that I got the X Plus Defa Real Godzilla Ultima statue figure or whatever. This is
seeing it in person, I'm like very impressed.
This is detail, paint, sculpt. I mean, if you like that like little slightly cartoony style that they go with the Defa Real, I know it's a little bit of an acquired taste. I don't mess too much with the Defa Real stuff. This one, I thought kind of hit the happy medium of being like a little cartoony, but also still kind of like capturing, like the head's like a little oversized, like exaggerated, I should say. But it's just so incredible looking, and the Ultima design is just such a cool. The Godzilla Ultima design is like has quickly become like one of my like.
It's top. It's S tier.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to say like top 5 or something like that, but it's like the Godzilla Ultima design is just such a cool, striking design.
It's very cool. It's different enough to where it stands out on its own, but like at the same time, it's very cool. I like it a lot.
Yeah, Godzilla's almost kind of a little like mohawk going on, kind of.
Right, and he's got like the big teeth hanging out.
The fangs and stuff. Yeah, very, very cool. I've actually like kind of been rewatching most of Singular Point like here and there, like not like sitting down and like doing it like at any structured setting, but just kind of like working through a couple episodes here and there. And I sit there and like, I was like, my God, I was like, I just want more of this. Just fucking more of this.
We're gonna get more eventually.
Yeah, I mean, I was, the Ultraman anime took like, I mean, the second season is still not out yet, but like that took like almost like a full year to get like a second season announcement. I imagine Singular Point's probably going to go the same route.
Speaking of which, of the Netflix anime stuff, Pacific Rim the
Black. Yeah, I was
just
going to say, it was like me saying that also hit me. I was like, oh shit, Pacific Rim the Black.
It's not coming out for another 2 weeks, I think. We'll talk about more.
The 19th, right?
Yeah, we'll talk about more in the next episode.
Yeah, I think maybe in an episode or two, that's probably going to be our episode.
All right, yeah, I'm cool
it's probably going to be that. So
I will probably watch it all. Like, I remember being like, I'm not gonna binge this. I want to like watch like 2 episodes today. I'll watch 2 tomorrow, 2 the day before, 2 the night.
I remember
after.
that you watched the whole thing in like one day.
Yeah, and then I just realized like, oh, it's over. That's it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I did the same
so
thing. I was like, all right, I won't watch the whole thing today. Then I think I watched the whole thing in a day.
It just kind of sucked me in, and like before I knew it, I thought it was gonna be 10 episodes, and then it was only 6, and I was like,
yeah.
I wish there were 4 more.
When Singular Point comes back, I want it to be weekly again because I loved the whole like idea of like I would just sit there and think like for like 6 days straight, going like I was like, well, what did that?
You'd fantasy
what
book
mean?
it.
What did that mean?
Yeah.
Or just like you know, if it was like how you did like the first season of True Detective. It's like, what does all this little shit mean? What does it all mean? And like I like having that experience of like stewing on something. Where Pacific Rim: The Black, I think, worked better as like you binge it all in a day. And I don't remember if I think the Ultraman one was bingeable. I mean, I watched it after all the episodes were up on Netflix, but I don't remember if it released that way or not. But it was, yeah, that was a cool series too.
Yeah, I watched through that, and
the Ultraman one.
yes,
yeah,
and I enjoyed it, but like I don't recall too much of it. I just remember seeing like the guy like flying over him and like beating him up a whole bunch before I really understood what he was doing.
Yeah, it's really weird because it uses the original Ultraman series, not Ultra Q, but Ultraman, as like it's canon like launch point, but it ignores the rest of the Ultraman timeline, and like
So it's like the new Halloween movies.
I guess yes,
but
it's like no, I haven't seen them, but
they're excellent. I love them.
But it's like you know, Ultraman is a giant hero that fights giant monsters, whereas like in the anime series, like, well, we're kind of trying to like turn like Ultraman into like these like kind of like tech suits that only certain people who have like an affinity to be ultras can use, but you know, we're kind of more doing human size fights rather than giant monster fights.
Yeah,
and that's like a really yeah, I thought that was cool. Like, I mean, like a lot of like the enemy monsters that are in the show are like human-sized versions of like older, but they're callbacks to like old Ultraman kaiju. But it was cool.
I was expecting more giant stuff, and I'll be honest, going into it, and but I was fine with it not happening.
Yeah, and I suspect. I mean, I liked it for what it was. I don't like love it, but it's cool though.
You haven't been swimming in raw sewage? You don't love it?
Right. Yeah.
We were talking about those comedy movies off.
Yes.
Okay, so.
Yes.
You don't get this.
Airplane was a
good podcast material.
Yeah, great
jokes.
podcast. Yeah. But anyway, I think I guess I will kind of main event for night 2. I only have one figure here to represent it, but
I'm glad you brought this one.
Yes, I got the Mezco Destroy All Monsters Round 2 set because Round 1 has been slightly delayed, but we have Round 2, which is Ghidorah, Baragon, Gorosaurus, and Minula. And it's like these are like small figures that are super detailed. They're heavy for what they are. Like they're solid. Like, and I just brought the King Ghidorah over here for us to show you because you wanted to see the Ghidorah one. But I'm actually gonna say the Baragon one might have been my favorite of the. I mean, they're all really good, but the Baragon one just like looked super cool. Baragon comes with interchangeable heads and interchangeable legs, so you can put him on all fours or you can have him standing up. Actually, did like his standing up pose a little bit better. Minula comes with like a different set of arms, which are just posed slightly different, and he comes with a different head where you can attach the smoke rings that he blows with that head. Gorosaurus is just Gorosaurus, but Ghidorah comes with like 3 beams, and
this is the best Ghidorah figure I've ever seen in person,
especially of like classic 60s style Ghidorah, which I feel like does not ever translate to figures well for whatever reason. This is like incredible looking.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like Neko, you want to tell me that you couldn't do something like this? Give me a break. Like
you got called out.
Mezco hit it out of the park right here.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And like
10 out of 10.
I put these on a shelf next to like the Ultraman and Red King Mezco set that I have, and I I was like, these look so good paired together. It's like, and now like I'm sitting there going like, I was like, I'm gonna get the other Destroyer monster set soon. It's gonna have Anguirus, Godzilla, Rodan, and Mothra. I think is in that set.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna get the 64 style Mothra that comes with the 2 Shobijin in the carrying case.
And then you're getting the
And then the Hedorah set. And I already have the shelf squared away where these are all going to be together. I'm just looking at them going like, I was like, these are like the best.
Yeah.
These are the best. Like everyone's talking about like I don't know what it is. Like everyone like Super 7 stuff, all that stuff's really cool. But like I don't know. These Mezcos things are just like incredible. Like now that I have them in hand, I'm like, no, these are incredible.
Yeah. Just seeing that, I like at first glance, it's a little smaller than you'd think, but like it's not too small.
Yeah, well, Ghidorah is taller than everybody else, and he's probably like 5 inches. Everyone else is probably 3.
But that's what I mean. Like
3/4, 4 inches.
There's like too small, and then there's like just fine. This is just fine as terms of like height.
Yeah,
it's not as big as like the NECA figures or the Bandai figures that you're probably used to, but it's fine.
Detail's better, paint's better.
Detail is very good.
Get a lot of accessories.
Like I'm probably gonna wind up.
There you go. If you were on the fence about like the Shroud monster,
this kind of pushes me over
because they're $80 a piece. I tell you, you're gonna get a bunch of detailed, great figures for $80.
But like it's like I said, the price tag is kind of deceptive because you're getting multiple figures,
right?
So like you're really getting like top notch $20 figures, which is kind of my wheelhouse. You're just buying it all at once.
Yep.
So I'm kind of like at the point now where I'm like, all right, I got to get on this.
If you're an Ultraman fan, start with that set. That set's like $30 or something like that, and you get Ultraman, Red King, some accessories, and you get a little diorama to pop them up on.
Yeah, I've seen like your photos too with it, and they pair well. But like seeing it in person, I'm just like I've seen the photos, and I was just like, oh, these look really good. We'll wait and see. No, this sells me on it. Like these are top notch. We are not sponsored by any toy company either. It sounds like very pitchy right now, but I am very on board.
I'll support. Mezco has seemed to be nothing but a very good company.
Yeah,
my experience is very, very transparent, very communicative. I appreciate that. Meet somewhere in the middle. Get the Godzilla versus Hedorah set. I think that's like $60, and you're gonna get a Godzilla figure, a Hedorah figure, but you're also going to get a third Hedorah in flying form.
Yeah.
So you get 3 figures, and you get like these like little like buildings to display with them.
You get multiple heads though too, don't you, for Godzilla?
I don't remember if that one comes with multiple heads. You get multiple heads with Godzilla and the Shrell monster set.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, you get multiple heads for that. Basically everybody in the Godzilla Destroyer monster set, like Anguirus comes with multiple heads, Godzilla comes with multiple heads. Mothra comes, I think, with like a webbing attachment.
Okay.
And I think Rodan's the only one that doesn't come with anything extra. But I don't know, you get a lot of shit. So.
But, yep, sold. I think I have to look into this now.
Yep. But did you also see that Super 7 is again releasing that Shogun style Godzilla? I think it's going to come out tomorrow.
Oh, really?
As of this recording. It's the same Shogun style Godzilla, but like it's going to be like translucent fire now.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know if I need
the stores, and I remember hitting you up doing like, I don't want it, but do you want it?
Then I did ultimately finally buy it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I need another one though.
Yeah, because I was like, I know you have like the regular one, like the original.
Yeah, the original Shogun Godzilla. Yeah.
So I was like, do you want this? And you were like, nah, fuck this.
Yeah, but then I was like, I saw it like in person. I was like, if you keep it in the package, the packaging's cool.
Yep.
That's what I did. And I bought it, but I didn't buy the glow in the dark variant. I don't think I'm going to buy this like translucent fire variant. I don't think.
If I see it, maybe I'll pick it up.
Yeah, I think the L tail of the Marmot or Marazon Godzilla, I think is going to start also getting. I think that's also getting released this week or next week.
Cool.
I don't think I need the L tail. See that I bought 2 J tails.
If I do see one, I'll probably pick one up.
That's like what I would do too. If I saw the J tail that we got is not supposed to be in stores. But I think the L tail one will be. If I see that in the store, I would just buy it. But I'm not going to like proactively get it.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm landing on that too.
Yeah.
I do enjoy my my Power Ranger figures, though. I got them on my desk, and I look at them all day pretty much, and just like, yeah, these are fucking sweet.
Yeah, we're living in a good time with Super 7 and Mezco banging out these things.
Yep. Well,
plus we got some weird Playmate shit coming our way, so
yeah,
eventually working its way to us.
I'm looking forward to seeing like the new Playmates figures in stores. I like the price tag on those, so
$9.
Yeah,
$10.
$10.
I want that playset though, the Godzilla and Kong playset.
Yes,
that I want.
Yeah.
That's the only one that I'll go. If I lose confidence that this is going to show up in the targets around us, then I will pay secondary prices for it. But I'm confident the Shin Godzilla, the other Godzilla, the Kong with his fucking propeller blade, scorpion maneuver is. I feel like those are all, like, just like the Rodans, the Gorosaurus. They're everywhere now around us.
I'm eager to see the Shin Godzilla in person. I don't know if I'm going to get it because I still think it looks kind of wonky from the pictures I've seen. But like, I want to see if it's like improved. So like, because the original is just so terrible.
You're gonna get it just for the OIWF. But I see the Terrestrius is in stores now on the West Coast. That's made its way out.
Yep, and that's a cool looking design too. Like,
it looks so similar to the Bandai Movie Monster Series one that I have.
Yeah,
like it looks a little bit like the colors look a little bit more like brighter. But it looks very similar to the Bandai one. Except, of course, it's in a little bit of a walking pose.
There was a Ghidorah figure that's they're releasing too, right?
Playmates?
Yeah.
A Ghidorah one?
No, Ghidorah.
Oh, Ghidorah. Oh, yeah. But that's like the only one we haven't seen like better pictures of yet.
Yeah. It looks kind of like the Jax one.
Yeah, that's where I remember like the blurry photos were kind of like almost looked like it was like, yeah, legendary style and like kind of Jack style. But
I hope it just stands better.
Yes.
And is better.
Because they're all like the wings were just like way too heavy.
Yeah. Take some notes from Mezco. That's how you make a Ghidorah figure.
Yes, exactly. Use the tails to help balance it out and don't make the wings super heavy.
Yeah. But yeah, we got a lot coming up on the horizon for figs. I won't be such a cheapskate, and I'll probably get more stuff.
Also, like the secondary market prices aren't bad right now. Like that Godzilla 2014 one, like that's on like Mercari and eBay for like I don't know, like $20 to like $24. Like I don't think that's actually that bad.
Yeah,
but I'm probably spending more money for all the hunting that I do, like just going store to store trying to see if it comes out. But I enjoy doing that. Like it's worth it me doing that because I enjoy that hunting rather than just buying it online and calling it a day.
One of the things that I like about figure hunting is that's like you get like sort of like into a groove and you find places you go to like that aren't part of the hunt that you just enjoy. Like for me, it's like there's a Heavenly Donuts place close by that has like outstanding coffee and jalapeno cheddar bagels.
Okay,
so
yeah,
that's part of it.
It's like a little outing.
Yeah,
it's a little and like maybe you go there looking to see if they have Godzilla stuff. Then maybe you walk down like the wrestling aisle and like maybe you find like a wrestling figure or like I don't buy a ton of Star Wars stuff, but I buy like a lot of the Mandalorian and Boba Fett like adjacent stuff.
Yeah,
so sometimes like maybe I find that instead.
Like I got a Master Chief figure. I got like this past week when I did my run, I got like a Santos Escobar basic. Because I was like, $10 for King Cuerno? Why not?
Yeah. Have you watched any of the Halo series on Paramount or whatever it is?
I don't have Paramount, so I haven't watched
I watched the first episode. I can tell you it's fucking terrible.
Okay.
Fucking terrible.
Well, the new Halo game is fantastic.
Yes. Well, this...
it's just a shame that too many other games came out that are amazing, too, so I'm not really playing it anymore.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know. I watched the first Halo episode and I said, this is bad. And I did not watch any additional episodes.
All right. I don't have it, so I probably won't see it, to be honest with you, but I do like the games.
Yeah. Game's great.
But that'll do it for the fig section, I think. More to come. Like, obviously, once we get the new waves of Playmates, we'll be talking more about the figures.
Sure, yeah.
Any plan for the next episode? We didn't really come up with this word. This is on the fly. Do you want to do it off recording and then come back and surprise people in the next episode with a bullshit topic that they probably don't want.
Sure, yeah. Maybe we'll do another poll. Maybe we won't. I don't know.
I kind of want to keep it internal this time.
We'll keep it. All right. We'll keep it. We'll play it close to the vest.
Yeah, I want to give the people the chance to vote. Maybe a couple episodes. We'll do a new episode next week, and then we'll do our Pacific Rim, the Black.
Final season. The second season. That's the final season.
Yeah. Which is fine. It's a short mini run, so that's fine. But maybe in a couple episodes, we'll give the power back to the people.
Yes, that sounds good.
Take your poll. Anything you'd like to leave the listener with?
No.
It'll be very painful for you.